Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really digging into something I think a lot of advanced English learners wrestle with. What actually unlocks mastery? You know the feeling, right? Maybe you've seen them, that colleague, that classmate, who seems to just absorb idioms like magic, speaks with this, I don't know, perfect accent.
Yeah.
They just navigate English so effortlessly. It's impressive.
Yeah.
Almost unnerving sometimes.
Oh, definitely. You see that grace and think, wow, they were just born with it.
Exactly. And that's where this little thought creeps in, this really insidious idea. They just have a talent for it. And I don't. And that thought, honestly, it might be the single most dangerous thing in language learning. It's often where that C1 plateau feeling comes from. It becomes this easy excuse to just stop pushing.
It really does. It sort of whispers, see, told you. You're just not cut out for this.
Yeah.
And it's such a comforting idea, isn't it? This notion of innate magical talent.
Comforting how?
Well, because it kind of lets you off the hook. It suggests success is all about, genetic lottery.
Right, destiny.
Precisely. And if you didn't win that lottery, well, hey, not your fault. It feels like a relief, maybe, but it's actually a trap.
Okay, so that's exactly what we're tackling today. Our mission in this deep dive, looking at the evidence, is to argue against that whole talent myth. We're here to say that true, eloquent, confident English mastery, it's not some gift from the heavens. It's actually, well, it's a predictable outcome.
That's the key, predictable. It's the result of specific things you can learn, certain mental frameworks, certain strategic actions.
Okay.
So we're essentially replacing the talent myth with three really solid pillars: mindset, strategy, and consistency. And we'll look at some stories, actual examples of advanced learners, people who totally believed they didn't have the gift, but they reached amazing fluency anyway.
Yeah.
Not through magic, through method. Really clear, actionable stuff. So think of this deep dive as your roadmap, moving past comparing yourself and into, well, becoming the architect of your own mastery.
Okay, I like that. Architect of your mastery. Let's start by really taking apart this talent myth. Why is it so tempting? Why does it feel like it explains so much?
Well, it's tempting because it offers a simple answer, doesn't it? One person struggles, another flies. Must be talent.
Right, easy explanation.
But the easy answer is, rarely the full picture. The really foundational work here is from Carol Dweck at Stanford. Her work on fixed versus growth mindset.
Oh, Dweck, yes.
So the fixed mindset is basically the belief that your core abilities, intelligence, personality, even language aptitude, they're just fixed traits, set in stone.
Like you get a certain amount and that's it.
Exactly. So in this view, any challenge becomes a test that might reveal you're, inadequate. And mistakes. They're not learning opportunities. They feel like final verdicts on your permanent limits.
And that connects directly to the talent myth.
Perfectly. It's that voice saying, see, proof, you're just not good at this.
Okay, so what's the alternative? The growth mindset.
Right. The growth mindset is the belief that abilities can be developed. Through dedication, yes, but also through smart strategies, and crucially, by learning from your mistakes. It really embraces the idea of neuroplasticity. The brain isn't fixed, it's malleable. It physically changes with effort.
Malleable. Like clay.
Sort of, yeah. So challenges aren't threats anymore. They become opportunities to grow. Mistakes aren't judgments, they're just data. Really valuable data for improving.
Okay.
So you see, the talent myth is really just the ultimate expression of that fixed mindset. And that's what leads to stagnation, especially around that C1 level where the challenges get subtler.
Well, the growth mindset gives you the fuel.
The psychological fuel, exactly, to keep going when things get tough.
Okay, that makes sense psychologically. But what about those people who genuinely seem to learn faster? The language prodigies, aren't they kind of proof of talent?
That's a great question, and it's where the illusion gets really strong. But when you look closely, their faster progress usually boils down to a mix of learnable factors, not some innate gift.
Such as?
Well, prior experience is a big one. Think about a Spanish speaker learning Italian. Their brain is already wired for similar grammar, similar sounds, tons of cognates.
Right, they have a huge head start. That's not talent, that's leverage.
Exactly. Leverage. Or maybe they're using more effective methods. Consciously or not, they might be doing something like deliberate practice, which we'll get into while someone else is just, passively listening or rereading the same textbook. That's naive practice versus effective practice.
Okay.
What else? There's also something called the lower affective filter. Basically, certain personality traits, maybe being more tolerant of ambiguity, less afraid of making mistakes, maybe more extroverted. These can make people more willing to just jump in and use the language.
But are those talents or just tendencies.
That's the crucial point. They're more like learnable psychological states or behavioral tendencies. You can become more tolerant of ambiguity. You can work on reducing your fear of mistakes.
Got it. Not fixed.
It's not fixed. And the last one, often the biggest one, is hidden effort. You see the smooth performance, right? But you don't see the hours they spent prepping, the consistent daily habits, the deep personal motivation driving them. It looks effortless, but it rarely is.
So all these things, experience, methods, mindset, effort, they look like talent from the outside, but they're actually things we can influence or develop ourselves.
Precisely. Strategic, psychological, behavioral things.
Well, yeah.
And the most empowering part, they can be learned.
That really shifts the perspective.
Absolutely. So this whole idea of innate language talent, it's really a fallacy, a mistaken belief. It disempowers you because it suggests your limits are already set.
But our brains are malleable.
Fundamentally malleable, easily influenced, trainable. We're not denying some people might have certain predispositions, maybe a good ear for sounds or something.
Sure.
But those predispositions, they are never, ever a substitute for strategic, consistent work. They're just a slightly different starting line, maybe. Not the whole race. Debunking the myth is key.
Okay, myth thoroughly debunked. Let's build on that. Pillar number 1, mindset. You said cultivating a growth mindset is the non-negotiable foundation. But it's not just thinking positively.
No, it's much deeper than that. It's a profound, evidence-based understanding that your brain is literally a dynamic system. It physically changes with effort.
Physically changes.
Yes. Every time you struggle with a difficult article, wrestle with a fast conversation, try to nail a tricky grammar point, you're not just practicing, you are physically building new neural pathways.
Wow.
You are, in a very real sense, the architect of your own brain. That's neuroscience, not just a nice slogan.
Architect of your brain. I like that. So how do we actually do that? What are the practical steps to build this growth mindset?
Okay, a few concrete things. First, the yet trick. Simple but powerful.
Yeah.
When you catch yourself thinking, I can't master this accent, or I just don't get phrasal verbs, just consciously add the word yet at the end.
I can't master this
Oh,
accent yet.
Exactly. It instantly transforms a fixed statement, a dead end, into a temporary one, a statement about the future, about growth.
Okay, simple. What else?
Second, reframe challenges. That tough article. That speaker who talks a mile a minute, don't see them as threats proving your inadequacy, see them as workouts.
Workouts, like for the brain.
Precisely. Shift your internal talk from, oh no, this is too hard, to, okay, great, this is a fantastic chance to train my listening, reading comprehension.
Turning threats into training opportunities. Got it.
And third, maybe the most important, focus on the process, not just the outcome. A fixed mindset obsesses over the final grade, the perfect presentation.
Right, the end result.
A growth mindset learns to appreciate, even celebrate the effort, the strategies you try, the small steps forward. Did you push yourself to use a new complex sentence structure in a meeting, even if it felt a bit clunky?
Yeah.
That's a huge win. That's a victory of process. And that's far more valuable for long-term growth than waiting for perfection.
Celebrating the trying, not just the succeeding perfectly.
Exactly. We saw this play out incredibly well with Isabella, the lawyer. Remember her story?
The one who redefined her accent. Tell us more.
Yeah. So Isabella, brilliant Brazilian lawyer in New York, grammatically perfect English, huge vocabulary, but she was absolutely tormented by her accent. She saw it as this permanent flaw, a sign she wasn't quite as good, wasn't as legitimate as her American colleagues. Classic fixed mindset about accents.
And that affected her.
Hugely. It made her hesitant, self-conscious, which ironically made her less clear and confident when she spoke. The belief itself was the barrier.
So what changed?
She encountered Dweck's work, and she made a conscious, deliberate shift. She decided to stop seeing her accent as a negative, a liability.
Instead.
She reframed it as an asset. Her new narrative, her growth mindset story, became, my accent isn't a mistake. It's part of who I am. It's audible proof I'm bilingual, multicultural, that I bring a unique global view.
That's a powerful reframe.
Isn't it? And it wasn't just wishful thinking, it changed her behavior. She stopped doing those accent reduction drills that just made her feel inadequate.
So what did she focus on instead?
On what really mattered for her job. The clarity and persuasiveness of her arguments. She worked on her prosody, the rhythm, the pausing, the intonation to make her speech engaging, powerful. But still her voice, with its Brazilian roots.
And the result?
Dramatic. Because she wasn't wasting mental energy worrying about how she sounded, she could pour everything into what she was saying. Her confidence just soared. Her arguments landed with more impact.
And her colleagues?
They stopped hearing an accent and started hearing a brilliant lawyer with a really commanding presence. A unique, compelling voice, actually. She didn't magically change her accent. She changed her mind about it. And that unlocked everything.
Wow. That really shows the power of mindset, especially for those subtle C1 issues like accent. Okay, so mindset is the foundation believing you can change. That leads us to pillar 2, strategy. The how.
Exactly, the blueprint for how you actually make the changes. Because talented people don't just improve by magic or osmosis.
Right. You mentioned deliberate practice.
Yes. Anders Ericsson's work, it's basically the antidote to what he called naive practice.
Naive practice.
Just putting in hours without focus. Like driving a car for 20 years, you don't really get better after the first year or two, right? You're just driving. That's naive practice.
Okay, it makes sense.
Deliberate practice is the opposite. It's systematic, it's highly focused, and honestly, it's often pretty uncomfortable because it's designed specifically for rapid improvement, pushing you just beyond what's easy.
So how does a C1 learner apply this? What are the components?
4 key things. First, a specific, well-defined goal, not get better at speaking. That's way too vague.
Needs to be concrete.
Very concrete. Like,
Okay.
in my next 15-minute chat with my language partner, I will correctly use 3 different past modal verbs, could have, should have, would have, in complex sentences discussing a past event. See how specific that is.
Yeah, okay. Very targeted. What's second?
Second, intense focus and effort. This has to stretch you. It needs to feel like a real mental workout, right at the edge of your current ability. If it feels comfortable and easy, you're probably not in the deliberate practice zone.
Right. Comfort zone means no growth. Third.
Third, immediate and informative feedback. This is crucial and often the hardest bit for advanced learners dealing with nuance. You need to know quickly if you hit that specific goal or not and why.
How do you get that feedback? A tutor.
A tutor is great, but you can also create feedback loops yourself, recording your speech and analyzing it against your specific goal. Maybe even using some AI tools for transcription and basic error spotting, though human feedback on nuance is usually better.
Okay. And the fourth component.
Fourth, repetition and refinement. Based on the feedback, you don't just move on. You do it again. You adjust your approach. You repeat the specific task, tweaking it, until you achieve that very specific goal consistently. It's a cycle. Define, focus, feedback, refine, repeat.
That sounds demanding. But also, like, it would actually work. Let's look at Kenji, the engineer. How did he apply this? He felt stuck conversationally, right?
Yeah, Kenji. Meticulous software engineer from Japan. Put in thousands of hours studying classic naive practice, lots of input. But in fast team meetings, he felt slow, clunky, couldn't jump in, felt he lacked the talent for spontaneous talk.
So how did he use deliberate practice?
He got specific.
Wow.
He identified his biggest bottleneck, hesitation, using filler words like pausing too long when trying to link ideas.
Okay, specific problem identified.
Then the specific goal. In a meeting discussion, state an opinion clearly with a main point and 2 supporting details, using no more than 3 filler words total for that turn.
Wow, that's precise. How did he practice with focus?
He joined an online conversation club, specifically one focused on debating tech topics. High pressure forced him to think on his feet. That was the intense focus part.
And feedback. That seems tricky for fluency.
His innovation was recording himself every session. Afterwards, he'd transcribe just maybe 5 minutes of himself talking. And he'd highlight every single filler word, every awkward pause.
Ouch. Brutal honesty.
Yeah, but effective. He even kept a hesitation journal. Why did I pause there? Was it vocabulary, grammar uncertainty, confidence dip? He analyzed the root cause.
That's real engineering thinking applied to language.
Totally. And for refinement, based on that analysis, he developed specific countermeasures. He learned and drilled transition phrases until they were automatic. He'd brainstorm topic vocabulary before the debates.
So he wasn't just hoping to get better. He was engineering solutions for specific failure points.
Exactly. It was tough, he said, really challenging, but incredibly effective. Within just a few months, his colleagues noticed. Kenji wasn't the quiet one anymore. He was active, articulate, persuasive. He didn't magically get spontaneity. He systematically built it.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It really shows the power of breaking down a fuzzy goal like fluency into solvable engineering problems. What about Anya, the marketer? Her issue was writing style, right?
Yeah.
But bland.
Yes, Anya from Poland. Great passive vocabulary, read tons. But her English marketing copy, accurate, yes. but lifeless. It didn't have that pop, that creative flair she admired in native writers. She felt she lacked the writer's talent.
Another common C1 hurdle: the style, the nuance. How did deliberate practice help her?
Same process. She got specific. She decided to master one rhetorical device at a time. Her first target, the triad, the rule of three, like veni, vidi, vici, or location, location, location.
To focus on one specific stylistic tool.
Right. For intense focus, she blocked out an hour every morning just for this. She'd find examples from brands she admired, Apple, Nike, and literally deconstruct how they use triads for rhythm and impact.
Analyzing the masters. What about feedback?
She built her own loop. After analyzing, she'd rewrite some of her company's existing copy, deliberately trying to weave in 3 strong triads. Then, and this took guts, she posted her before and after versions on a marketing forum, asking for specific feedback just on the triads.
Wow, public feedback. That's brave.
Very, and crucial for refinement. People gave her specific pointers. At first, her attempts were maybe a bit clunky, forced, but she took the feedback, repeated the process, tweaked her approach. Her use of triads got smoother, more natural, more impactful.
And then she moved on.
Yep. Once she felt comfortable with triads, she picked another tool, maybe metaphors, then another like anaphora. She was systematically building her writer's toolkit piece by piece.
Like a musician practicing scales and arpeggios to build technique.
Exactly like that. It wasn't divine inspiration. It was focused, repetitive, feedback-driven practice. Eventually, her colleagues started saying, "Wow, Anya, your writing has such natural flair now, so persuasive."
And she knew.
She knew it wasn't flair. It was the predictable result of a disciplined, strategic building process. Proof that even creative skills can be developed this way.
That's really powerful. Okay, so we have mindset as the foundation, strategy, deliberate practice as the building plan. What's holding it all together? Pillar 3.
Consistency, the win of mastery. And the answer really is pretty much every day. In some way.
The unsexy secret weapon.
Totally unsexy, but maybe the most important. Look at top performers in any field. They aren't just talented. They are incredibly consistent. They show up, even on days they don't feel like it, especially on those days.
Because motivation comes and goes.
Exactly. Motivation is fickle. It's unreliable. What actually produces long-term results, especially at the C1 level where progress feels so slow sometimes, systems and habits.
The grind.
The incremental gains, the compounding effect of small actions day after day after day. That's the only force strong enough to really push you through that plateau and towards true mastery.
Okay, so how do we build that consistency, especially when C1 can feel discouraging? Any practical tips?
Definitely. We can borrow heavily from James Clear's work in Atomic Habits. First idea, go atomic.
Meaning?
Make the habit ridiculously small, so small it's almost impossible not to do it. Don't start with, "I'll study complex grammar for an hour every day." That's overwhelming.
So start smaller.
Way smaller. Like, I will listen to an English podcast for just 5 minutes while my coffee brews. Or for Kenji, maybe it was, I will transcribe just 1 sentence of my recorded speech today.
Just 1 sentence.
Just 1. The goal isn't massive progress in one day. It's establishing the habit of showing up. Once the tiny habit is locked in, you can naturally let it expand later when you feel ready. Start tiny.
Okay, atomic habits. Makes sense. What else?
Second, habit stacking. Link your new tiny English habit to something you already do automatically. It's like, after I brush my teeth each morning, existing habit, I will write 1 sentence in my English journal, new atomic habit. The teeth brushing becomes the trigger.
Okay, piggybacking on existing routines. Clever.
Or when I sit down at my computer, existing habit, I will read 1 news headline in English, new habit. Makes it automatic, less reliant on willpower.
Got it. Third tip.
Third, design your environment. Make the good habits easy and obvious, and the bad habits, like defaulting to your native language, harder or invisible.
How? Examples.
Leave an English novel on your bedside table, not your phone. Change your phone's system language to English. Unsubscribe from native language email newsletters. Subscribe to English ones in your field. Put English learning apps on your home screen. Remove distractions.
Basically, make the path of least resistance lead towards English.
Precisely. Set up your environment so that engaging with English is the easy default option, even when motivation is low. It's about engineering your surroundings for success.
Mindset, strategy, consistency, the 3 pillars. It really reframes the whole journey.
Doesn't it? So bringing it all together, that myth of innate talent, it's just a story, a really disempowering story we sometimes tell ourselves.
Yeah, it kind of casts you as just an actor in a play where the script's already written. Your linguistic fate sealed.
But the truth, the liberating truth that comes through from all this research and these stories is that you are the author. You write the script.
Mastery isn't winning the lottery.
No, it's a structure, something you meticulously build piece by piece.
With that foundation of a growth mindset, knowing you can build.
Constructed using the sophisticated tools of deliberate practice, the how.
And held together, strengthened over time by the mortar of consistency showing up day after day.
So if you're listening to this, maybe it's time to just banish the word talent from your internal dictionary when you think about your English.
Banish it.
Yeah, it's a red herring. It's a total distraction from the actual work that matters.
And especially for you listening, if you're at that C1 level, think about it. You've already shown incredible dedication. You put in the work to get this far.
Absolutely. You've already proven you have the capacity for hard work. So now, it's just about channeling that energy more effectively, shifting from just hoping for progress to actively architecting it. Become a scientist of your own learning. Get curious. Adopt that builder's mindset. Embrace the process, the struggle even. Analyze your mistakes like they're just data points. Refine your strategies.
Just show up.
And show up every single day, even if it's just for that atomic habit, that C1 plateau. It's not an insurmountable wall. It's just a gentler slope that requires more precise tools and a steadier climb.
So the final thought for you to take away today, you do not need a gift from the gods. You don't need magical talent. You just need a blueprint, mindset, strategy, consistency, and the will to build.
The tools are already in your hands. You have everything you need.
You are the architect. Now begin.